Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our city who are involved in activities designed to foster good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the host for our program. I am also the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission. The commission is a city board that seeks to ensure equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. Today, we'd like to welcome to our program Ray Langston and Dee Dee Rivers of the Clay Street Children's Collaborative. Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, first, could you tell our viewers about the collaborative, what its mission and purpose is, and why it was formed?
Very good. Yes, be glad to. The Annapolis Children's Collaborative came together as a result of people and organizations who were involved with development for children, and we all shared a common concern and goals. And more often than not, these concerns and challenges revolved around finding and utilizing the limited resources that were available to us. The Children's Collaborative is a consortium of organizations dedicated to making efficient and effective use of those limited resources. And it's made up of a group of, as I said, concerned citizens and organizations here in the city of Annapolis for the benefit of the children in the Clay Street area and the greater Annapolis area.
What are some of the participating organizations in the collaborative?
We have a wonderful group of people. I would like to not miss any of them because each of them plays such an important role. Archie Trader, who is with the Annapolis Recreation and Parks Service at the Stanton Center. Jim Turner, who is the head of the Stanton Center. Lassie Belt, who is also with the Recreation Parks Department. Jan Heiserman, Annapolis Elementary, as well as Sue Myers, who's the principal of Annapolis Elementary, is very active with us. Cindy Hackett with the library, the Annapolis Library. Sasha Limsenko, Annapolis Youth Service Bureau. Larry Griffith from We Care. Richard Dion from Premier Planning Group. Sally Garrett, Dee Dee Rivers from St. Anne's Episcopal Church. Virginia Porter, Community Partners. Judy Larson, Community Partner. And also Rusty Porter from St. Anne's Episcopal Church. I started out with the Rotary with the consortium as a result of the Annapolis Rotary Club wanting to be involved in doing what we could to help in the folks who were working over in the Clay Street area. And that was about 5 years ago, and I'm still there, and the Annapolis Rotary Club is still very actively involved in supporting the activities that we do there.
It's my understanding that the collaborative serves as an information exchange. How does it do that?
Well, people come, we have monthly meetings. People will either contact one of the members of the consortium, or they will come to one of our meetings and request to present to us concerns or needs that they have that they feel we might be able to help them with. And I think that's, Dee Dee would agree, that's pretty much the way we operate. Of course, Dee Dee and her group, I'll let her speak a little bit about St. Anne's and how your folks all get involved in this.
St. Anne's has been involved even before the collaborative was formed. When Bertina Nick was still living, we had a partnership with the organization that she headed up, the Clay Street Community Organization, and so our church has been involved in helping to sponsor a teen camp in the neighborhood and doing tutoring and just involved in general in activities over at the Stanton Center.
Okay. That's my understanding, too, that the collaborative advocates for changes in public policy. that address issues that are faced by young people. Could you give us some examples of what that involves?
Well, I'm not sure that we get that heavily involved in lobbying on behalf of children. We do speak on behalf of the kids we represent, particularly in their needs and the services that the community needs to improve their lives. That's pretty much our focus. We try to just primarily focus on the needs of the children, creating an atmosphere and an environment there at the Stanton Center that allows them to flourish without and not be involved in all the negative things that are going on in the community.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the specific programs that you have that help to improve the lives of children? We've got a pretty good understanding now of why the collaborative was formed, some of the organizational features of it, but could you give us some specific examples of some programs that you've actually engaged in, or that those co-sponsors have engaged in?
Yes, very good.
What have you done?
We brought along some photographs, and we'll have those looked at later, but one of the things that's been going on for quite a while that we're particularly proud of is the teen camp, and that's Dee Dee's baby, so I'll let her, that's such an important program.
Well, the teen camp and the Head Start program came out of the early days of the collaborative, actually when Bertina was still living and we were meeting together. We addressed two of the pressing needs of the community. Community members said that there was nothing for teenagers in the summer, so especially young teenagers who were not able to get jobs yet, and that children who were younger than the recreation department program at the Stanton Center had nothing to do in the summer, and lots of times their older siblings were having to take care of them and miss the other opportunities that were provided. So we partnered with Head Start to St. Anne's raises the money every year for a Head Start program for 5-year-olds. So that is a really, I think, important contribution. The kindergarten teachers at Annapolis Elementary have told us that that program has really helped the children to be ready for school when they start to kindergarten, because they're in this Head Start program all summer. The teen camp, which is something dear to my heart, is for 14 teenagers from the Clay Street community. It is a 6 weeks program. It is every day from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock, and they have activities all day long. Trips, speakers. They have had for the last few years a wonderful young teacher, Lenny Barber, who teaches at Parole Elementary, has been with them as their counselor all day. So he has served, and the man who served before Lenny, as a mentor to these young people. He gets to know them, he encourages them, he's a great role model for them. And then the activities, this summer we went to Luray Caverns. They've done the adventure ropes course out at Pathways every year. Things to really build confidence in themselves, to give them an idea. We've used this slogan from Bishop Desmond Tutu of South Africa, that God has a dream for your life, and to really give them a vision for life beyond what they see as they walk on the streets of Clay Street every day. And Ray Langston meets with them every week to just be an encouragement to them. We've gone out to his home and to the Frederick Douglass Museum and home at Highland Beach. It's just a wonderful opportunity for the teens in the camp.
You know, that plays such a very important role. If you can imagine all of these kids not being on the street, not being engaged in things that they might accidentally or intentionally get engaged in by being so occupied with the teen camp. It's such an important program that's gone on for these many years, and Dee Dee has really been the glue that has kept that all together. So we're indebted to her for that.
And then the after-school program too.
Yeah, they had the
homework club and Archie Trader heads that up, and it is every day during the school year. Children come to do homework, and there are volunteers not only from St. Anne's but from St. John's College, from just people in the community, and that's headed up by Archie Trader and Lassie Belt and Teresa Jenkins, who serves there in the afternoon. That's a wonderful thing for the kids in the neighborhood. The Stanton Center really is an oasis for kids in that neighborhood, and so the after-school program there. Also, someone from St. Anne's comes and does crafts with the children. A wonderful woman in the community comes and does a cupcake club, Diane Steele, and with the kids with her daughter Lexi, and other community volunteers that I probably don't even know their names come and do things with the children in the afternoon. And First Presbyterian has a wonderful reading program that is runs for the fall, and then again in January till May, I think. We work really closely with Annapolis Elementary School with the kids. Sue Myers, who's the principal, and Katie Cook, who's the reading resource teacher. They are really involved with us with what we can do to really encourage the kids academically and otherwise.
About how many children actually take part in the Clay Street Children's Collaborative? If you talk about all of the youngsters that you ultimately touch.
Wow. I'll let Jeannie take a stab at that. That's
very extensive endeavor.
Yeah. Gosh, it's hard to know because, there's the Head Start children, the teen camp children, and then the homework club, and something that they have, this special Kids of Honor program.
Yeah.
I don't know, with homework there might be, on one day there might be 10 children there, and then another day there might be 25 children there.
Yeah, it fluctuates.
And of course the children come to play basketball in the afternoon, so there are lots of children involved in that, who do things also with Lassie Belt does things with them every Friday afternoon, takes them places Friday evenings. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, in addition to the children from the Clay Street area, then you have the children from the surrounding area who come in, and then you have the friends of the children in the Clay Street area who sometimes piggyback off of the activities that are going, that their friends are involved in there at the Stanton Center, so it can fluctuate. And then you have Archie taking kids to basketball games at the Naval Academy, and you have Naval Academy cadets getting involved. But the numbers, I would say they're in the probably 35 or 40 routine, and then it fluctuates up and down depending on the season of the year and what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take a brief break now, but when I come back, I will be speaking with Ray and Dee Dee about what they see for the future for the Clay Street Children's Collaborative. We have been talking with Ray Langston and Dee Dee Rivers from the Clay Street Children's Collaborative. Dee Dee, could you say a little bit about the photography exhibit that the Children's Collaborative has organized?
Well, actually, that was a part of the teen camp, which it comes under the Children's Collaborative. And last year, you were very kind to host the photography exhibit here at the City Hall. I think a lot of people were able to see the work of our teenagers. And this year we had a show at the MFA Gallery, which was, they invited us to show our photography there. We had a young woman from the University of Maryland who worked for 4 weeks with the teenagers. They took pictures, self-portraits, and then they took pictures in their community, in the Clay Street community. And their exhibit was titled, "We Will Not Be Silent." And it was really their voice that was expressed through, their voices expressed through these wonderful photographs. We were able to do this because of the gift of a woman in New York City who heard about the teen camp through someone at St. Anne's, asked what she could do to contribute, and she gave us a gift of $500, which is what paid for the photography exhibit. So it was very exciting, very moving to see the photographs of the teens.
And it's my understanding that you've got an art program as well. Is that true,
Yes,
Ray?
yes, we were very pleased and thankful that we were able to get a grant from the county executive, John Leopold, for a art mentorship summer program for the kids. And it was a $10,000 grant, which enabled the kids to participate in a very extensive program at Maryland Hall. Rob Levitt was the head of that up for us. And the kids were involved in all of the various disciplines in the arts. In addition to that, we had an exhibit of some of their artwork quilts at the Arundel Center. It was on display there. But the kids got dance, they got all the various disciplines in the art. So it was a very successful program. And that's a good example of the kind of things that we can do with the funding that we get. I think most people know about the Annapolis Rotary Club's annual crab feast. Well, part of that money goes, all of that money goes back out into the community. And so they have donated for the teen camp each summer for the last 2 or 3 summers, a grant for that. Sue Myers, who Dee Dee mentioned, who is the principal at Annapolis Elementary School, came to us and meets with us regularly to discuss what's going on with the kids. And one of the things we found out was they would like to have a smart board. And that's a new electronic teaching medium that's now available. Some schools have them now, but they didn't have any. And through the Rotary, we were able to get a grant to provide them with 2 smart boards at Annapolis Elementary. And then in conjunction with that, AT&T made a donation so we could put a smart board in the Stanton Center. So the kids and the teachers, when they work on their homework, they can have the same technology, the same medium available. So we're in the process of getting that up and running at the Stanton Center. So that's an example of how the funds that come to us are utilized. They're usually very specific. We've had funds for basketball uniforms. We've had people from St. Anne's who just routinely donate to the efforts of the collaborative, and not only money, but in the amount of time that they all spend in the community working with the children. So we're very fortunate in that regard.
If you had a wish list of things or volunteers to help the Clay Street Children's Collaborative, what would some of those things be?
Wow. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is we need people who have technical skills to come and help us with the computers. The children, we have computers, but we need people to supervise for a few hours in the afternoon or evening the children working on the computers, and to supervise that activity. And also we need a person who would be responsible for operating the smart board that we're having installed at the Stanton Center. We had someone who would take responsibility for that piece and or train somebody to do it, then that would be very helpful. Dee Dee, can you think of somebody?
One of my dreams has been, I know that there are churches that do this for the Boys and Girls Club, and I think it would be great to have some organizations that would come in and do a meal, maybe once a week, for the kids at the Stanton Center, just provide a special dinner and maybe some activities for them. I think that would be wonderful, because I think a lot of the children, maybe their nutrition is not as good as it should be. A lot of them are there at hours when I'm thinking they would ordinarily be home eating supper, and I think just to have a really nice supper for them once a week would be a wonderful idea. I did want to say, as far as funding, that also the Navy Chapel has been really generous to us. They've helped to support the teen camp every summer. I think other dreams, we always need people who would tutor in a special need. For instance, there's one man at St. Anne's that I always call when I hear of a high school student who needs math help. But if we knew of other people who'd be willing to come in and help some of the teenagers write papers or work with them on a particular subject, it would always be good to know people who'd be willing to do that.
Transportation gets to be a problem sometimes. The kids need, particularly Archie, needs some transportation help, taking kids to different activities. This summer, Dee Dee mentioned we chartered a bus. Through donations, we were able to charter a bus and take a large group of kids up to Luray Cavern. In fact, all of them, none of them had ever been to Luray Cavern or up into the Shenandoah Valley. So that was quite a day's experience for them.
We are blessed in the summer with the teen camp to have the loan of a van, a 15-passenger van, from a foundation called the Mark 1014 Foundation. Lets us use their van, pays for the insurance and the gas. So that's a really nice gift for us.
If you had the opportunity to expand the work of the Clay Street Children's Collaborative, what areas would you take it into, looking down the road 10 years, for example? Are there some things that you would really like to expand into that you're not doing right now, if you had the opportunity and had the resources?
I think one of Archie Trader's dreams, and he is really the person that is in charge of the Department of Parks and Recs program at the Stanton Center, which is what we really work with. I know that he attended a conference this week on how best for a community organization, a city-funded organization, to work with the community. And you can see that we're already doing that, but I was saying, I'm sure you're going to come back with a lot of great ideas of how we can expand what we're doing. It would be wonderful at the Stanton Center to be able to offer even more things for the children. Things like dance. I know one of Archie's dreams is to have a dance studio there and a music studio where all the children love music. So ways that they could use a facility like that. But really to be able to fund more programs, because the budget from the city is very limited at the Stanton Center. More opportunities for the children.
Yeah, that actually would be very wonderful. I mean, I would love to see a music program there also, and have a retired musician or teacher that would be willing to come and work with the kids on the instruments. And of course we would need instruments, but to actually have the children have that as a discipline that they are being exposed to daily, as opposed to, I don't know what kids are getting in school, but I don't think they're getting a lot of music and those type of programs in school today. So this would give them a wonderful opportunity to have that, and that's a wonderful discipline for them to be involved with.
What kind of reaction or feedback have you gotten to the various programs and activities that you offer from the children themselves and their parents?
I have a great story.
Yes.
Tell it to us.
There's a young man who was in the teen camp he was in there a couple of years, And he did have some difficulty in school and ended up spending a little time at the Mary Moss Academy. But he was talking to me last May about being in the program, and he said, you know, we were going to take somebody in the program who was a little maybe risky as far as whether he'd be able to participate well, and but somebody who was kind of borderline and getting involved in, as one grandmother calls it, the lure of the streets. And so this young man said, you know, Mrs. Rivers, I am so glad you're taking him in that program. He said, you know that I've learned so much this year in my life, and he said, I know that I'm still vulnerable. We're all vulnerable, but I'm not vulnerable in the way that I used to be. And he said, you can't save everybody in programs like this, but if you can save one, it's going to make all the difference in the world. And this was from a 15-year-old. So I just, and that's one of the reasons we keep the teen camp small, is that you can really speak to the hearts of these kids, and they speak to our hearts.
These are great programs that you've described for the Clay Street Children's Collaborative. I'm sure that we've got viewers out there who would say, gee, this is an effort I would like to get involved with. I'd like our organization to be involved with it. And you may have parents of children who say, you know, we would like to have our sons and daughters involved in this. How do you get involved, both in terms of individuals and sponsoring organizations, and how do children get enrolled in these very good programs? Mm-hmm. Could you give us some information about that and share that with our viewers?
Yes. Dee Dee, I'll let you speak to the children getting involved, because you've been more directly hands-on with that.
For the children to get involved, really, they just need to come to the Stanton Center. They can just come, and they're welcome. Archie Trader, who is the director of the Parks and Recs program at the Stanton Center, would be the contact person. If their parents want to call Mr. Trader, the number at the Stanton Center is 263-7966, 410-263-7966. And they can call him about their children coming to the homework club. They can call, actually First Presbyterian Church works with the school, and the school chooses the children who do their STAIR program, their special reading program. So that really is done through Annapolis Elementary School. The teen camp, again, Archie Trader is probably the best contact to get information about the teen camp. And that is in the summer. But in the spring, we start registering people for that. And as I said, the number is limited. And really, during the year, the teens start coming to me when they see me at the Stanton Center and saying, may I be in the teen camp this summer? So it fills up very quickly.
People who are interested in being involved as volunteers or making contributions or in any way may contact me or Archie Trader, preferably Archie, because he's there, he can direct and let people know what's needed specifically. So I would say Archie would be the main
he's the main
contact.
We have been talking today with Dee Dee Rivers and Ray Langston from the Clay Street Children's Cooperative. Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, please contact us at the information on your screen. Either call us at 410-263-7998, or you can email us at hrcommission@annapolis.gov. And remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that we have flown the air like birds and swum the sea like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters.